It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Welcome to another episode of Wednesday Toast, a comic book about podcast stuff where we talk about all kinds of comic book related stuff. My name is Lex and I'm here with my co-host Simon. Simon, what's up?
Hey, man. Totally tubular, dude. That's what I should say. That would fit the theming of the episode.
And it's always weird to ask you how you're doing because we talk for like an hour before we start recording.
I think that's part of the struggle and why I don't really know how to answer. Because I'm like, well, you know.
From now on, I'll just start recording as soon as you pop on.
And I have this tendency, just in general, of when people ask me how I'm doing, I know they don't really care that much. I mean, everybody cares. And I know that you actually do. But most people are like, hey, how you doing? And they're like, just say fine and we'll move on. You know, don't give me your life story.
Yeah, I'm not a chronic oversharer, so I usually just say, I'm great.
Yeah, I have a coworker and I feel bad because she'll ask, how was your weekend? And I'm like, it was good. And then she'll kind of look at me for a second. I'm like, well, I had to do this and then this. And I can tell that she's always like she was waiting for it, but doesn't really want to hear it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Yeah. It's weird.
People are weird, man. Including me. People are people. That's the news. That would be my presidential campaign slogan. People are people.
People are people.
Let's get weird. Speaking of weird, on this week's episode, we're having a birthday party for our favorite teenage boys. I know there definitely was a zillion other ways to say that.
Yeah, that was.
But that one, I knew it was going to be funny for myself. So I did it. It is the 40th. This year is the 40th anniversary of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and today, specifically at the time of this recording, is the day of their birth.
Day of their awakening.
Yeah, the day that those two dudes were sitting in an apartment trying to make each other laugh by drawing doodles, and they got the weird idea to say, you know what? Let's. I would love to talk to them, and I don't really want to know about the entire journey of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because I've been there for most of it.
Yeah,
I was in the creative room since I was 6 years old. But I want to know that window of like, I drew a silly turtle on a napkin to let's use my tax return and a loan from your uncle and let's do this. That's a huge leap in my opinion.
Do you think that story's real? I just wonder it. Like, I was listening to another podcast and they were talking about John Wayne Gacy, which is not really on this subject at all.
Not really. Yeah, that's not the uncle. It's not Peter Laird's uncle.
That got his uncle John Wayne Gacy. But they were talking about. They were like, so. They were talking to his attorney, one of his attorneys, and they asked her like, so what about his last words? Kiss my ass. And she goes, that is untrue. She said, I don't know where that story came from, but he didn't say anything. He just died.
He died. So, oh man. What would your last words be if you got to pick them?
My last words took long enough. That would be
Mine would be Cowabunga.
Cowabunga, that's a good one.
That's a long way around to say that, because I don't even think I said it. We're talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's their birthday. So,
thanks for making it this far, people.
Yeah. We've done Ninja Turtle episodes before, and if you are a friend of the show, then you know that Simon and I love these teenagers with attitude, not the other franchise, but these teenagers with attitude.
Oh, yeah. I need teenagers with attitude.
We need to do an episode about how weird that is.
How attitude? Well,
just in general about how this alien from outer space had this very specific group that he needed. Did they ever explain why they had to be teenagers with attitude?
Not in the... Well, I mean, that was the culture in the U.S. because the TMNT had already come out. And then a few different versions of whatever. But
so Zordon's just surfing the 1990s internet, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is it. I need punks."
he's actually the spirit of a pedophile, and he was like,
"It should be that guy from the not to make light of the HBO documentary, but he should be Dan Schneider or whatever his name is.
Dan Schneider. Yeah, I need teenagers. He's
and those teenagers don't even have attitudes. They're like the nicest kids. They should Molten Skull should be the Power Rangers.
Yeah, I guess. I will never. That's all I ever hear.
Okay, before we turn this into a Power Rangers episode, let's steer it back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I figured, I made a loose outline of the episode, but we could geek out about so many different elements, and we'll have to try to rein it in because one thread could go on forever. But speaking of the story, you mentioned if the story is true. I'm going to go through a quick history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then we can kind of branch off of that. So 1983 to 1986, this is where I was talking about earlier. It was, I think, Kevin Eastman moved in with Peter Laird in 83, and he drew the doodle of the turtle. Everybody's seen it. It looks super goofy. I like it. I think it's great. I don't think it would pass as something that people would buy nowadays.
No.
But it made Peter Laird laugh. They added Teenage Mutant to it because that was also the craze in the 80s with like the X-Men, or not just the 80s, but in early comic books, the X-Men, you had the Teen Titans. So you just had to make, why not? That nobody cares what this is. It's just two dudes hanging out, probably drinking some beers, doodling with each other. That's the dream, man.
Noodling and doodling with each other.
In a studio apartment. I just imagine if they were going to make a biopic of it, they get Danny DeVito and Charlie Day. I imagine it's like that situation in Always Sunny with Charlie and Frank.
Yeah.
Except there's more doodling involved.
They've done it. In the newest episode, or one of the newer seasons, they had a where they find out that this door that's been in that apartment for all of the seasons was like a whole nother room, like as big as the apartment. And they're like, what the hell? I've been sleeping with you on this couch. It's pretty funny.
That is great, man. So they wanted to tie it to the popularity of like teenage mutants, and then the popularity of Daredevil with the ninjas, and I think Howard the Duck was relatively popular at the time. So they just put all these current themes together and made this surprisingly incredible franchise, which is weird because no one even cares about Howard the Duck now. But I guess he had that movie.
Yeah. Well, somebody was like talking about that was their favorite movie, and they said it gets a bad rap. I've never seen it.
You've never seen Howard the Duck?
No, but I do like what's her name?
That too.
That's in it. I think that she is fine.
Marty McFly's mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is hot. Yeah, we got to watch it. I have not seen it in a really long time, but it is bizarre. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just a weird movie. Me saying it, I like it and it's good, usually means the opposite. So
right,
maybe it's terrible. But I think it's cool, and I didn't even. Maybe I forgot about this, but even Splinter's name stems from Daredevil's sword of master stick. So they just picked some of their favorite things going on right now at the time in comic books and just put it together. And then they turned it into a comic book. They thought it was funny to give them Italian Renaissance names instead of like Japanese names, because they were like, sure, why not? It's quirky, right? It's funny. I think it's like I want to know what it's like to be them now and have such a claim for this $1 billion franchise and just be two guys that were like, oh, we were just fucking around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that's how it all starts.
Yeah. We never thought it would be this. It's got way out of hand. That's how I'd be.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon. We're on Nickelodeon, man. even though that didn't exist back then. Did it exist in the 80s?
Early 90s, I think. Because they had like, what was that one show? The slime show, like where they first started doing the slime thing. No, it was, you wouldn't do that on TV or something.
Well, I don't know that one. I got to look that up. So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say you would recognize it because it was like red couches or something like that, or maybe orange. I don't remember. There were like couches, and the background was like almost looked like a dome, like a geodesic playground dome. Like, I don't know how to describe. Maybe I could be making all that up.
Now I have to see this show, real or not. I do remember this weird show that came on Nickelodeon at like 4 a.m. that was these kids would play these arcade games that I don't think really existed. And I can't remember what it's called. And I could be making this up. But they would just take turns playing these different arcade games. So
I remember that.
If you're out there listening and you know what that is, please let me know. If I'm
crazy. I was right. I just found it. I found a picture.
What was it called?
You wouldn't do that on television. That thing you're talking about, they had, I remember that. It was like the arcade thing or whatever, where they would just be looking at a big ass TV. It was like The Wizard, but in real life.
Yeah, they stole the concept, man. Damn Nickelodeon. So in 1984, Kevin and Pete founded a comic book company, Mirage Studios, in their home. Apparently, Simon is a little skeptical, but they used the tax return and a loan from Eastman's uncle, and they printed the first issues of TMNT #1. I still to this day want one. They are crazy. They only printed 3,000 copies that first print, and they are very expensive. I think I talked about it in the last episode. I found one recently for like $19,000. That's a little out of my price range.
Yeah.
By $19,000.
Yeah, right.
Give or take. If we're rounding, I think it's just out of my price range. And they took out an ad in Comics Buyers magazine. I guess some weirdos saw it and they were just like, whatever this is. And it just started selling like hotcakes. And that was 83 through 86. Right?
Wow. Yeah, I buy a lot of hotcakes, so I understand. They sell.
I haven't had hotcake. I don't even know what a hotcake is. Like pancakes?
I think it's slang for butt.
That makes sense. 87 to 89. This is where I think the real catalyst for just the popularity that we have now took off. So Eastman and Laird licensed the Turtles to Playmates Toys. Now, if you know anything about Playmates, I think they are still stuck in 87, 89 as far as like their toy production and what they make.
Yeah.
But I think being a kid and being obsessed with this series of toys, I think that really made the Turtles stick, because I had no idea about the gritty Mirage comic book when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It was the toys, and then right after that, they worked with an animation studio. I didn't figure out who that was. And then they put out the first animated series, 1987, which our last episode was about how people think it's the best version of the Turtles that has ever existed, even though it's very silly and corny.
Yeah. Those figures are so crazy too, because they expanded out to a bunch of different characters that never really existed anywhere.
Yeah, like that dog fireman.
Yeah, and I think there was like a kangaroo.
That looks so creepy.
Too.
Yeah,
I don't know what else, but like the pizza guy, I don't remember him.
So many weird figures that they made specifically just for the toy brand, right?
Yeah, and the toy brand is really, interesting as well, seeing like the evolution of the size of toys, because the Ninja Turtles, I have one of the original ones and he's like this big. Like, it's crazy how small they are.
Yeah. I loved them. I was completely obsessed. I had to have everything. Obviously, we weren't a super wealthy family when I was a kid, but we still found a way. I have a weird, I guess, I don't pay attention to time in my memories. So I am starting to realize that maybe I just got toys way after like the initial rush, when they kind of died down. Then it was like, oh yeah, we found this at Kmart or whatever on the clearance aisle. Here are all these toys.
Yeah.
Aren't you fortunate?
I was the same way. We used to in here in town, we had KB, which always had sales, and then we had Bargain Depot.
And Bargain too.
Yeah, Bargain Depot had all the stuff like way afterward. It works just like Ollie's, So I would get G.I. Joes, and because I didn't care what they were from, and Ninja Turtles is like that. Like you can still watch the show right now, so does it matter what?
Yeah, and any version of the toys are cool. Like to the point where they're actually just remaking all the old figures.
Yeah. I almost bought the movie ones the other day, like the movie versions of the figures, but then decided that would be stupid.
Are you talking about the ones that were on sale? They had them for like $4 a piece.
Yeah, well, I didn't see them on sale, but they're like $10, and they're like the movie stars versions. They're the same turtles, but they're more textured and have the spots.
Yeah, they had those on sale on, I can't remember which one, Walmart, and they were the set of 4 for like $17. Oh, I thought about it. I was like,
yeah, that's silly.
Do I really need $17?
Do I need $17 or I need 4 turtles?
Can I lose $17 and still be okay? Also, at the time between 87 and 89, the popularity of the toys, the popularity of the animated series, which I don't want people to think that I'm a naysayer of the animated series. I think it still holds up. I think it still has some great animation moments. It has very, very funny and silly moments. But as like an overall turtle story, it's no chance, man. It's just a silly kids show that has very little substance besides giving them their addiction to pizza and their color-coded mask. That's what they contributed to the franchise, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's Secret Galaxy, formerly Toy Galaxy, has been really harping on people that can't let their fandom go. They just did an episode about that newest Thundercats series that was put out that people just fucking shit all over.
Oh, with the more Cal art style? I don't know if that's the proper term, but the simpler art style?
That's what they called it. And they got into that terminology, and it came from the Ren and Stimpy guy who was like a pedophile. So
yeah,
maybe don't say Cal art style because that guy's a piece of shit. But anyway, they were talking about how fandoms, you used to just grow up and get over things. And somehow, somewhere, I guess it happened with millennials and maybe a little bit older, you hold on to like this idea that your version is the only good version.
Yeah, it's the memories of I think for these people it is. It's the that's what nostalgia is. It's the memories of not just the show, but that point of their life and like simpler times or whatever memories that they have associated with it. It's not anything about being objective on what the show is. And again, I love the 1987 show. And it's subjective on what you think the best is. I don't really care. It's more about the people that say everything else is terrible. I love 1987, but Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is stupid. It's silly. And it's like, what? How are you using the exact same argument? It's all silly. They're turtles that fight ninjas. It's really stupid if you want to be very specific about it. But to get back on track, the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles also had a video game series. Started with NES. I think I had a brain aneurysm as a kid playing this game, and I thought maybe it was just me. It's back before being everybody being chronically online. You only have your own like personal experience. So I'm like, maybe I just suck at video games are not for me because I cannot beat this game. It's the hardest game that has ever been created.
I still think that I'm not very good at video games.
I know that I know for a fact that I'm not very good at video games.
I don't think I beat a video game that I bought. And I used to buy a lot of the systems until like the GameCube came out and I beat Metroid Prime. And that was the first experience I'd ever had beating a video game. I just never put in the time.
I've beat like RPGs because it is sort of like it's not necessarily challenge based, it's more like story based. But anything else, if it's really challenging, nah. Unless I throw the thing on easy mode for sure.
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
I've been playing that Sifu game lately, and this game is terrible. This game is terrible, man. It's not terrible. It's not a terrible game. It's just that I am terrible at it.
Yeah. I bought this game called Hi-Fi Rush. It was pretty cheap on a sale that they've got right now, but it's like beat based. It's really cool. You'd probably like it. It's
I've seen pictures. It looks great.
Yeah.
I like the art style.
But it's beat based, but I would say that I'm a fairly rhythmic person, and there's like you push the button on the beat, but the hit doesn't happen until after the beat because there's a lag with the input. But like if you there's music playing all the time and the environment is like doing a beat, boop, 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 so you know what the beat is.
I have ADD, man. That would cause me to spiral.
It's tough because I'm used to on button mashers just hitting the button. But if you hit it on beat, your attacks are stronger and stuff. And so it's been a challenge to figure that out.
That sounds tight. I'll check that out. Do you remember that first Turtle game on the Nintendo, regular Nintendo?
I played it recently. I have a Game Genie still for the NES, and I played it recently, and I finally got through it. And yeah, it was hard. And I remember that overworld music. Dun 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 dun.
I heard, and this probably has no actual validity to it, but I heard that they intentionally like coded that game to make it like almost a lottery chance that you get through it. That could be someone just coping with not being able to beat it.
Old stuff like that in general, like older games, they were coming off of like quarter eater video games, and so they didn't know how to make things like passable for people that were at home playing all day. So that's why like Contra is fucking hard as hell too.
That's true. The games didn't stop either. They kept going. Super Nintendo, they had Tournament Fighters, my favorite game of all time, Turtles in Time. Oh, yeah. That game still holds up, man.
And they kept them going for NES too, because they have like the Manhattan Project one that was 4. And then they ported the arcade game over.
So many good games, man. I still have not cracked open the Ultimate Collection or whatever it's called.
Cowabunga, hello.
Yeah. I need to get that tattooed on me. Cowabunga. In Old English.
That'd be dope. Actually, that would be of the stupid tattoos that you could get, that would probably be the
this is a stupid sidebar. Stupid side. Not that they are all intelligent or anything, or expert editorial sidebars, but I was talking to Madison about wanting to get like a sort of Japanese sort of sleeve tattoo, right? With the waves. I don't know if you've seen those kind of tattoos.
Finger waves.
Yeah, and so I've been talking about getting one of those slowly, and then I was like hinting at her. I was like, I kind of want to add in the Ninja Turtles in a way, right? And she was like, what? That's, I guess it kind of takes away from like, you're getting it for to put some semblance of like my grandmother in it and whatnot. But I want to get the Turtles. Remember the scroll in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 where the Turtles are the Kappa, where they're like the monsters? I want to get those Turtles small inside the tattoo. So it'll just be like a nod to everybody's favorite Ninja Turtle movie. And I can still keep it my Japanese roots.
Yeah, definitely the best one.
Yeah. She was like, I guess, whatever. Who I don't stop talking to me. I don't care. Yeah. It's pretty much.
Do I have to keep doing this, or like are you gonna?
Jesus. Speaking of movies, and we're moving into the 90s. That's when it hit, man. The movies. Starting with the first one. Now, I have gone on record saying that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Secret of the Ooze is my favorite of the first of the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But I recently watched the first one, and damn, it's good, man.
It is an actual good movie.
It is. It is. And I'm not being biased. It is so good.
Yeah, I feel like it does not get enough credit. The Rotten Tomatoes is way too low.
Yeah.
It is a good movie. It's mature.
And it is. I had some self-reflection because I'm the nostalgia guy. Like, Secret of the Ooze is my favorite because that's the one I really remember the most. It was a time where, I think age-wise, I think it came out in 91, so it was fairly older, not that much, but that's just the one I remember the most.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the first one 1,000 times. I just forgot how good it was, man. Damn. I'm probably gonna watch it again. Watch it again too.
I've probably seen that one more than any other movie. I'll throw it on, and I know exactly. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's a good movie. It's a good. I
didn't realize that. I remembered, and I was probably getting on my wife and kids' nerves, but I didn't realize I remembered so much of the dialogue, like the Casey Jones and Raphael fight.
Mm-hmm.
I did that word for word, and they were just like,
"Jeez,
we're not watching more movies with you."
Yeah, you're done.
Oh my gosh. They had the Jim Henson Creature Shop designs. I could sing the praises of that first movie so much, right? It broke the record of at the time for the highest grossing independent film, I think.
Yeah, that's what's interesting is it was an indie film too, because they were like, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not gonna. Is it gonna be the cartoon? The eyes popping out of their head. They're eating pizza. Which they did eat a lot of pizza in that movie.
Yeah, that was, if I had to pick a feature of the Ninja Turtles that I absolutely loathe, it would be.
Yeah, I know you do.
The pizza stuff.
I do love pizza, but it's become sort of a gag because they even add it with the serious stories, like The Last Ronin. That's how he beats Shredder at the end. He puts pizza into his Silver Surfer suit, and he has a meltdown.
That's stupid.
So yeah, it did so well. That came out in 1990. They immediately put out the second film, Secret of the Ooze, which I do love so much.
Yeah, but you can tell it's got that thing, that censorship thing. They definitely dumbed it down.
They tried to make it more for kids, which I guess that's why I liked it so much. They were like, "Oh, we can also sell, toys with this."
Yeah.
Do you remember the time? I think it was after the first movie came out, and then they switched sort of the direction of the animated series, where they looked angry all the time.
Yeah, it's what they call the Red Sky,
sharper edges.
Yeah, the Red Sky years. I think that's around the time that they came out with the Batman the Animated Series, and so they were kind of like matching,
trying to turn it into an action show.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
I don't really remember much about those episodes. I need to go back and rewatch them. I just remember they were always had the furrowed brow, even when they were joking.
They changed the intro too, I think.
Oh, I need to go and watch that. Maybe I'll watch that after this. Yeah, oh, they did, because they spliced in parts of the first movie, right?
Yeah.
Man, if there's one thing about this franchise, they're going to milk it. They're going to milk everything that they possibly can.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing about like the movie and the popularity. Like, yeah, there were toys and stuff, but I remember having Ninja Turtles shampoo, toothbrush, thermos.
God, sleeping bag, bed sheets. I mean,
yeah,
crazy,
they had those
man.
Scratchy ass blankets. So
yeah.
Then they were like for refugees, I think, and then they put like the silky stuff on the outside.
Yep, I love that blanket. Wish I still had it, dude. Wish I still had it. It was gross. That the popularity, I can't fathom it, because I can't get into the mind state of me being a toddler in 1990, because there's no context for me of what I didn't watch Oprah, but they were like on Oprah and Sally Jesse Raphael and all these like that is bizarre to me. Yeah, if you put these creatures in costumes on a very popular daytime talk show, well, it feels like a fever dream almost.
Yeah, that was the Mutagen tour or whatever.
The coming out of their shells tour.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they also, speaking of that, they also went on a rock band tour. All of this stuff sounds like it made up nonsense, right? You have these Ninja Turtles from New York. They also fight in another dimension. They also go to space sometimes. Mm-hmm. They also are in a rock band that tours the U.S.
And tells you to listen to your mom.
God, it's
not do drugs.
It's the most wild franchise. It almost seems like they can't miss, right? Everything that they do is popular until they tried to come out with a TV version of the live action Turtles, The Next Mutation.
I love that.
Made by Saban, right?
Yeah.
I like that show too. I think it has, I don't know. I understand that it's not good. There's a lot of things that I think if you take out, it makes the show a lot better. It's like there's weird we talked about it before. There's weird cartoon sounds for just like motions.
Yeah.
Yeah. You take all that out, I think it makes it a lot better. I'm not going to come to the defense of The Next Mutation. It's a weird show. Their eyes were too big and their teeth were like too real.
Well, that was just
Like they had like weird, like they looked like human teeth in their mouth.
Oh yeah. That I have a problem with their teeth in general. I think they always look kind of weird, especially if they show gums. That's what freaks me out.
Yeah,
I've got these statues from Diamond Select, which I think are really great, but you see the gums, and that's like, no.
Yeah, it's so weird. Laird said that it was the only licensed turtle project that he seriously regrets.
Yeah, makes sense.
That does make sense.
I remember just loving it, though. I mean, before the time, it's not good by any means, but it was like, I love Ninja Turtles. Holy shit, there's another Ninja Turtles thing for me to watch.
Yeah. That's kind of how I am now with like Rise and Mutant. I'm a huge fan of the franchise. And when you really think about how silly the premise is, you kind of just are just on for the ride, I think. Yeah. One cool thing about The Next Mutation is they did, we always talk about what we would do, superhero crossovers and things like that. They did the Power Rangers TMNT crossover, which was a game changer. That should have been, if those shows would have been connected, which I guess they were, because the Power Rangers from space, like dropped them off in New York or something. So they technically are in the same universe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think if there would have been more to that relationship, it would have helped that show a lot. Maybe.
I guess so.
I don't really know. Was Shredder in that show?
I don't remember. It was like a dinosaur thing.
Yeah, that weird white dinosaur that you had the action figure for some reason.
Well, there was that, but the main guy was like a dragon. He was like in a different dimension. From whatever.
I am going to go back and rewatch that. I posted something on Twitter not too long ago saying that I wanted to do like a reaction where I sit down and watch every episode, because I couldn't tell you how that show ends. Probably just never came back one day. They're like, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I think it was definitely canceled.
R.I.P. They did have some cool figures though, and like the art on the figures was great.
Yeah, the figures were pretty nice. You remember that anime?
Oh, like the super mutant whatever anime.
Yeah. I remember having some figures for that, and they had like the armor. That was my favorite part. Is some of the weird, like the Transformer figures, and then they had the like mech figures with the little small like 2-inch turtles. And then the little Micro Machine play sets with like the turtles that opened up.
I just saw one of those mini turtles and meant to send it to you the other day. I thought about buying it. It looks really cool. I didn't realize it was so small.
I've got a Rocksteady, right? Yeah. I get those confused. They're always said as one thing to me. I have a Rocksteady and a little tiny Raphael from one of those little turtles. But I had one that was like, it looked like an alligator snapping turtle, but you opened it up and it was like the Technodrome interior or something. I love that thing. So cool. I wanted all.
Yeah,
of
I think
them.
I sent you some turtle pics that and this is great
Turtle
for on
pics.
air. Great for on air, but I sent you. I'm going to slowly chip away at this collection I have at this store.
Ooh. Oh, I had that boxing Rocksteady. And that Leo Mac, man. I want that shit. Tell me how much it is when you go up there.
Oh, well. I'm going up there soon.
I'd love to have that one again.
So even to this day, the toys still are like one of the main factors. The video games to me is something that has fallen way off, though. I don't know. Let's talk about the downfall of the Turtles, because there's been such a uptick so far in the story. In the 2000s, they sell it to Nickelodeon, right? But this is where it's confusing to me because I don't really know the history. They did the 4Kids Entertainment 2003 series.
Yeah.
So is that is 4Kids owned by Nickelodeon? Because I thought it played on Fox.
That was Fox. I don't think. Well, that was before 2000, though. Wait. No, that's 03. I don't think that they sold it to Nickelodeon until later. Okay. I thought.
Oh, okay. Maybe in 2009 they did.
Yeah, I thought
they sold the transfer. October 2009, the Laird sold the franchise to Viacom.
Yeah.
He said that he had tired of working on the Turtles. He said, "I am no longer that guy who carries his sketchbook around with him and draws it in every chance he gets." Damn, that's soul crushing.
I guess. I mean, makes sense.
No, never give up, man. Put them in everything.
Yeah, I think the push for for all this stuff is really what would have killed it for me, I think.
Yeah, like the whoring it out to to every single thing.
Yeah.
They really did. Again, to this day, they still do it now.
Yes. Yep.
So when I said downfall of Turtles, I'm not saying it ever took a real dip, but there was a time. So far we've just been talking about it exploding upwards, right? In this era, the 2003 show is great. I'm rewatching it right now. Very entertaining. I know it falls off on the last, I think it's like 7 seasons, but it falls off. They go to the future and then they come back and now they have pupils and they ride BMX bikes all the time. It gets weird on the last 2 or 3 seasons, but overall it's a really good show. And then because I tapped out after then. I was still a Turtle fan, but there was no movie. That show was obviously marketed for kids that ride BMX bikes and scooters. Because I remember there was one of the Turtles rode a Razor scooter.
Which one is this?
It's the 2003 animated series.
Oh,
but then branching out of that series, they still count the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fast forward.
Yeah.
And they go to the future, and then they come back home for the last season. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Back to the Sewers.
Yeah.
And in the intro, they have bicycle helmets and jerseys, and they're riding BMX bikes and a Razor scooter through the sewer.
Yeah, that's
is clearly not for me.
That's when that started dying for sure.
Yeah, and so I was just kind of like, we don't have any Turtle projects right now. I wasn't reading. I can't even tell you what's going on in the comic books at the time, because I know Image was in the 90s. But then 2011, 2012 came out, and they had the new series for Nickelodeon, and I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it until about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And we had early conversations before you had watched it, and I was talking about how I was shocked that it was so good and that I loved it so much. And I was just like, I think the shock and surprise of me enjoying it so much and just really catered to me loving that show, man.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a surprise. And I think I mean, it's definitely made for kids. Obviously. I mean, they all are, right?
Yeah.
But I think the particular like the way it integrates some of the older storyline stuff. Like, I feel like it's for fans. It's got old stories and new stories and just all of it. I think that they did a really good job of like incorporating those things to make everybody happy, so to speak. And I think that it's got really good action scenes, and it's got, those funny moments where it's a little anime-esque with their reactions and stuff. So
yeah, a lot of people talk about how it's very fan servicey, like it's for hardcore old fans, and I agree that it is, but I also am not complaining because it ties in things like you talked about. It ties in so many things. It can be refreshing to a new audience. My son absolutely loved it. It's his favorite. And then it has video game characters and references, movies, comic books. It really was something special in my opinion. And if I had to say favorite turtle property so far, it's got to be that one.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just so good. And whatever. If you don't like it, that's fine. I get some people have hang-ups with different animation styles. But then in 2011, also, IDW launched the new Turtle comic series, and we just last month reached the end of the road with issue 150. That's crazy, man. That's a lot. That's a long time. It's a long time. And it was a really, really, really good comic series. It got like wild and kind of off the reins, as Turtles do with alternate dimension stuff and future timelines and things like that. So I feel like anytime it gets that wild, you really narrow your chance to get new readers. Like I read 150 last week, and I've read every issue from the launch, and even I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? It's like a very Donatello specific ending. He's like sort of the main character of it, which I love, but it's also very Donatello, where he's talking to a future version of himself, so he's even smarter and sort of grittier and wiser and angry, and it's just all, imagine two Donatellos talking to each other, and that's what it is. A lot of dialogue, a lot of time travel. So I couldn't imagine being someone that hasn't read every single issue and then tried to read that as they tie everything together. But it was a journey. And in July, they're relaunching the series with a new number 1. So that'll be cool.
Sounds cool.
I hope, because it's not necessarily a reboot. They're going to still tie in some of the old stuff, but they're going to try to make it new reader friendly. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times those can be iffy, but I have high hopes. Jason Aaron's doing it. He's great.
Is that a baseball player?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that popped in my head, but that's the first thing I thought of.
Around the same time, I can't remember when this movie came out, but the 4th live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie came out, produced by Michael Bay.
Oh, right. Shit, I forgot about those movies. I completely forgot about that.
And it was a time to be a Ninja Turtle fan because they were doing something different. They were making the Turtles even more distinct from each other. Mm-hmm. And like the 2012, 2011 show made them look different. But this one was like different than we've seen so far. It kind of looks like a evolution of the Next Mutation almost.
Yeah, kind of. And I feel like they had some of that. In the last Ronin, they talk about how they continue to mutate at a certain point, and that's why the last Ronin looks so different. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that hadn't read. But anyway.
Oh, I already did with the pizza killing Shredder's nephew.
No. But that movie. There's
I've never talked to you about it. I want to know what you. I don't think we've ever talked about these movies.
The second one's not as bad, I don't think. I mean, it's goofier, which I appreciate. I think that the first one took itself too seriously, and it turned into Transformers, the TMNT project. Like,
sad.
It came off the same way. It's really weird. Mm-hmm. Like, why does Shredder need a mix? What is this? Why does that?
They really botched that. The cool thing about Shredder is that he is a badass. Now, Shredder's a huge dude. He's like 6'6", almost 300 pounds. He's a massive dude. He doesn't need this giant robotic suit that shoots out katanas out of the hands or whatever he had.
Yeah. And I think that I can appreciate different designs, even if I don't like them, but I don't think anybody liked those. And it's just bad design. There's nothing that makes them unique enough to be considered or be recognizable as turtles. I think that's part of the appeal, is that they just look like humanoid turtles. These look like I saw two comparisons. They look like Doomsday from the Batman versus Superman, and they look like the troll from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, a mix of those two is perfect. Yeah, I think it would be better if the white dude that was in that movie was in that mech suit as the Shredder, pretending to be the Shredder, and then the real Shredder came out and beat the shit out of everybody without the use of the mech suit.
Yeah,
and then they chop his head off.
Yeah, and a bunch of worms come out of it,
and then they kick his body into the dumpster and smash it.
Oops. Yeah, which is a really dark part of that movie that no one seems to recognize, that he's murdering.
These teenagers just murdered this dude. Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, that's sort of. And then they had the sequel, Out of the Shadows, which I will never give. I do agree with you. It is better and it's more enjoyable. But Stephen Amell as Casey Jones,
no, terrible.
Almost walked out of the theater.
He's way too pretty.
And he's just I don't know. I don't know if he can't act. He just acts like himself in everything that he plays, and it's just not believable.
I like that he's a nerd. I mean, he is a nerd, and that's good. You want someone that has love for the property, but terrible casting for Casey Jones.
Yeah, they made him a cop. He is the most anti-cop character. That's his thing. He's like a Punisher. You know what I mean? Vigilante.
Right.
It's terrible. And then we got Mutant Mayhem. What were your thoughts going into Mutant Mayhem before it came out?
I mean, I thought it was going to be good. It looked fun. I like the idea that they're actual teenagers. You never see them portrayed as teenagers. They seem like... Never. I guess the cartoon kind of had that as they were short, which they need to... in my opinion, turtles need to be short.
Especially if they add in the aspect of them continuing to mutate and grow.
Yeah, I like the idea that they're shorter thing, because they're mutated turtles that were tiny. So why would they mutate to a 6 foot tall person size?
Yeah.
And then and in the old show, I mean, the fact that they like cereal and cartoons and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I guess more,
but also
toddler teenage or toddler turtles.
Yeah. Or just immature single man turtles, because that's what I was doing.
Yeah,
watching cartoons, eating cereal and pizza.
But the Mutant Mayhem, I really liked the different direction of the animation style.
I know some people weren't too keen on it going in. Even I was seeing some of the early pre-animation, just character designs. I was I don't know if this is going to go over well with people.
It was very toyetic. That's what I liked about it, is that they but not on its own accord. It was taking inspiration, I feel from the toys that came out in the 80s. How there's gross looking and weird. And then adding that into the character designs, plus this kind of more cartoony style than we've been seeing. So I was excited.
I sing praises for this movie a lot. I think for the same reason I do for the 2011 Nickelodeon show, is because when I saw that movie in theaters, I was floored with how much I enjoyed it. I mean, I could not believe that I enjoyed it that much. I was thinking about it for days, man, after watching it.
Yeah, it's a lot like the Spider-Verse movie, in that it can exist on its own, and
exact same feeling.
Perfect. It is perfect on its own. I don't need a sequel. This is great.
Same. I was not mad that they are coming out with a new animated series, because I feel like there should always be an animated series in rotation every couple of years, and it's based, it's connected to this movie. So it'll be in universe, which is pretty cool.
But I'm glad that they were fairly smart with the casting of the turtles themselves, because they're not like super famous people that it would be difficult to get their VO. But I do think it's funny, like if you see the commercials for the toys of that stuff, I'm like, where did they get these voices? They don't sound like anybody. They didn't even try.
You don't have to. That's the secret sauce with the Ninja Turtles, man. You don't even have to try. People will buy it no matter what. But, given that a lot of people were skeptical about Mutant Mayhem, it got crazy good reviews. People talked about the animation style, the voice acting performances. Some critics said it was the best Turtles film, which I would not tell someone they were wrong if they said that. I mean, it is enjoyable.
Yeah.
Very, very enjoyable. Probably one of my favorites. I like them all.
As far as like structure and everything, I would say it's the best. As far as how much I like it, it's probably like number 2.
Yeah. Oh man, geeking out about the Turtles. Do you have any like Turtle specific memories or like figures in your past that you wish you didn't get rid of?
Yeah, I mean, I really wish I had a lot of them still. They're
same.
Some of the ones that I really loved. I love the ones where it had like the ripcord where they would talk, like that had like a speaker in their back. There was one in that picture you sent me. That one was really cool. I loved the transforming ones, because I think I've mentioned this on another show, but that was the only way, or the only time I ever saw like the little drill thing that they used was the transformer. So you could get the Shredder transformer, and I always just kept him looking like the drill. And then
because him and Splinter were boxy whenever you changed them into their regular bodies.
I really loved the swimming ones. I had this like Leonardo sports car, which I really loved.
Yeah, I remember you told me about that. I never saw that until you made that reference.
Yeah, those are, and then the mech ones. Those were my favorite figures. And then one thing that I would really love to get they're impossibly expensive is like Revoltech, that company that made that Venom that I was talking about. They make really highly posable figures. They made a 2012 set of figures, and
I think I've seen the Donatello.
They look phenomenal, and they run about $500 if you want all 4 of them. And that may be low end. They are expensive, and
it's crazy.
I would love someday for them to reproduce those, but I don't know if it'll happen.
People love the Turtles. It just came out with that $400 set from Mezco, and people went crazy for it.
Yeah, it's interesting that they. I mean, it's crazy how many people passed on it, and now they all got FOMO and they're really, really trying. I think Mezco got some more though, because some people on Mezco you can like waitlist yourself. You can say like commit to buy it if it comes in and you're chosen. And so I know some people 2 months after they came out got waitlisted, or got their waitlist converted.
It's pretty cool, man. Maybe I'll try to get one of these days.
Maybe jump on that waitlist.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We talked about the like weird Japanese anime that came out that never came out in America, and that I know of. I'm sure there were like bootleg copies all over the place, but the ones you were talking about is where they have like this mystical armor, right?
Yeah.
There was 2 parts to the anime, and there was one of them where they used this crystal and turned into like these superhero-esque characters. They were like 10 feet tall and they had like muscles like a superhero. And I had the Michelangelo figure, and I loved it so much. Like, who knows what happened to it? But I wish that I could have a set of those. I've looked, and they're expensive. They're not even that great. People just like to collect them.
I remember the Jim Lee ones too. They only produced 3 of those figures, I think.
Yeah, they never made the Leo. I want to get all of those because that's the only way to get that Jim Lee's TMNT comic. It was like a mini comic that was in the back of each figure.
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to get those because I like silly stuff, man.
I like them silly.
It's weird. It's weird. Favorite Ninja Turtle? Who you got?
Donatello for sure. Though I hate to admit it, it's much like my begrudging love for Wolverine. Like, I hate to admit it, but I think Raphael, at least toy wise, is the best, with Donatello in the second place on toy stuff. But even, I don't know, he's all right. I liked Raphael in oh gosh, the one you were talking about that nobody liked, Rise of the Ninja Turtles. I loved that version, and I liked the idea of that cartoon because they made them all look differently. Like they were different turtles.
They were different kind of turtles. Yeah, I like that too. Donatello, without a doubt, is mine for a very simple reasons. When I was a kid, he was the toys. He was the brown turtle.
Yeah,
and so I self-identify with that part of it. And then I just think it makes sense for him to be the best turtle, because even if he's not the best fighter or best ninja, he could still basically do what the rest of them do. And on top of that, he is a genius he could make a interdimensional portal out of Pepsi cans and trash can lids. Like, he is might be one of the smartest people on the planet, and he's also a ninja. So it's like, if I have to pick one, it's going to be the guy that can make a spaceship out of a pizza box, not the guy that likes to break dance.
Yeah. Michelangelo is my least favorite, and I know that's sacrilege to some, but I just cannot stand that character.
Mine too. Even though I do he's annoying in the 2012 show, but that's my favorite Michelangelo.
Yeah, if I had to pick a version of Michelangelo,
yeah,
that would be the version.
He's pretty great in that. Man. Ninja Turtles, do you think the franchise will just continue to just be around for as long as, I mean, we're not going to be around much longer, but for the rest of our days?
for the rest of the humanity? I don't know. And I'm at the point where I'm like, damn, when will this die? Not that I don't love it, but at what point does it die?
They seem to have a hit at all the right generations.
Yeah.
Right? Something happens where they're like, okay, these guys are getting old, they're dying off. The Mirage guys, if they say they love Mirage, they're just saying it to be cool at this point, because all those guys are just dying off. 1987 guys will be dying off next. So we need to come out with a new franchise. And Mutant Mayhem really did it. My son loved it, man.
Yeah, I think it really is like perfect.
I mean, he was already a fan because I forced it upon him, but he really enjoyed that one. I'm excited to see where it goes. I do think, we were talking about the downfall a little earlier. I do think the video games have suffered the most.
Yeah.
I feel like they just stopped trying or putting any eggs in that basket. They were like, we don't care. Video games aren't important to us. Because they came out with that one that I liked, and then you played it and you were like, this is terrible.
Are you talking about the
Mutants in Manhattan?
Yeah, I didn't love that one. And I like Platinum a lot.
Yeah. The environment is just so weird. I don't know.
Yeah. They just came out with the 2012 one though. Did you see that?
The arcade game, right?
Yeah.
It was the arcade game. Yeah, I'll probably pick that up. But then they had that weird one that kind of the turtles looked it was the Uncanny Valley. It was like out of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles out of the shadows, but it wasn't the movie designs. They looked like actual turtle, like skinny turtles. It was weird. I never played it. I don't even know if it actually came out. I've just seen like trailers and stuff for it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And I heard that one was a little bit better. Most of the beat 'em up ones were better. 2012 had like almost a Super Smash Brother clone one too.
Yeah,
I think
I had a couple of the 2003 from games on GameCube from the show. So I thought those were pretty good, and I think they really hit their stride coming out with Shredder's Revenge. That game is so fun. It just ends. It's just too short for me. I wish it lasts forever.
Last forever.
Maybe 1 million. Maybe they will. I bought the DLC, but I haven't played it because it's not anything but like a survival mode and Usagi.
Gotta have that Usagi.
Which I do love him. And yeah, I mean, we could talk about so many different elements of the Turtles. But I just wanted to just kind of show some appreciation to the franchise that I think is so ridiculous and doesn't make any sense. And I love so much.
I really hope that everyone enjoyed us saying, you remember that? You remember that for the past hour? Hopefully it jarred some memories or or knocks it loose some memories.
If you're a Turtle fan, you'll definitely be like, oh yeah, I do remember. Remember. Hopefully that's how the conversation. Hopefully that's how the conversation worked. Oh man. Anything else you want to say to our Turtle teens?
Nah.
They're listening.
I hope everybody enjoys Turtles as much as we do, because we really could sit here and just say you remember that for a long time.
I was surprised that we didn't have like half of our episodes weren't Turtles related when we turned to this format. But yeah, we could do this forever. Let's not.
It's such a silly property too, because there are a lot of times where I'm like, why do I care about these?
Yeah, same.
And it's not
because I do a lot. I talk about them a lot online.
Yeah. And it does feel like it's almost like an automatic, like, I guess I'm just into this now. And but no, I mean, like, I have a genuine passion for it. I really enjoy them. And it seems so ludicrous. Like, if a kid came up to me and started talking about something as outlandish as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'd be like, dude, what? That sounds stupid.
I agree with you. But I think because of the reason why I love the Turtles, I try to be more open to it. Because my son will watch some weird show and he'll start telling me about it, and I'm like, oh, that sounds lame. And they'll start telling me more about it. I'm like,
maybe.
Let me check out a couple episodes of that, see what it's about. And so I try to be more open to it because you honestly never know. But I'm the same with you. Like, someone the other day tweeted to me that someone is leaving an impact on you when you see something turtle related. You think, I wonder if Wednesday Pool has seen this. And it was like, damn, I guess I do talk about the Turtles a lot. And it's weird. I feel like it has just always been a part of my life. Like, I've never grown up. So every time they have those generational hits, I'm like, yeah, I'm back.
We're back, baby. We're back. Yeah.
So it's just, they got me. They got me hooked, man. I don't know if I'll ever chase that first print down, but
I would love to see, not like an adult themed by any means, but I would love to see like an anime version of the Turtles or something that follows. Because I know the Mirage storyline is also goofy, but I would love something that is.
Yeah, it's silly in the opposite way of like adult action. They have like Uzis and stuff.
Yeah.
Some issues.
I remember seeing that and being like, what the hell? What kind of turtles is this?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? Do you have any high hopes for the Last Ronin game, if it even ever comes out?
If it comes out, I just hope that it isn't phoned in. That's all I care for. Like, it can be a lower tier. It doesn't have to be AAA, quality.
Yeah.
Just make the story and the mechanics good, and it'll be okay.
Yeah, just don't try to cash in on the name, man. Because as we've talked about in our old show, it's not even my favorite turtle story.
No, it's I think it's kind of lame. It feels forced, yeah.
I think it's kind of lame. I know that, and that's, I feel like, a sacrilege because everyone's like got a hard on for The Last Ronin. Sometimes I don't think these people actually read the book. They think grittier turtles and automatically cool, even though everybody essentially loves the silly turtles. I don't know where the disconnect is to try to be cool.
Issue 1 of The Last Ronin is truly the only
very good. Like, the only one you need.
Yeah,
it could have just been that one.
You'll get everything that you want out of the idea of the storyline right there.
Yeah.
Which is the turtles are dead. There's only one left. And he's about
Surprise! It's Mikey.
Yeah, he's going to perform seppuku.
And you learned that in the first issue.
Yeah.
Surprise! I feel like I would have I just hated that so much. And that's kind of soured the whole story for me. Because without that, you could have continued the entire story, like the countdown of the brothers' deaths. And then after the last issue, you realize, oh, it's Mikey, that he's the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been the last 2 turtles, and then that's when you exactly.
Let us write it, man. Let us write it.
Yeah, what the fuck?
We got that. Hire us. Hire us.
We'll fix your stories. We may not be able to, may not be from the beginning, but we will fix it.
Yeah, we're the tinkerers, story tinkerers.
Yeah,
we're the story. That's the company we're going to start. That's our Mirage Studios.
Yeah,
Tinkerings Studios. We'll work on the name. We'll tinker it with it. That's it, guys. We're circling the drain. Down to the sewer. Happy birthday to my favorite teenage boys. It's been a wild ride. I'm not 40, but I feel I'm close enough. But I've been around for majority of the property.
Yeah, so, perpetually teenage boys.
I hope that no one gets tired of us, because I feel like even on the episodes that we don't talk about the Ninja Turtles, we talk about the Ninja Turtles in some form.
Everybody loves them, though. That's the thing. I don't know anybody that just thinks they're stupid. Like, they love the property in some way.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's all we got. Sam, where can the people find you and your turtle-related media?
You can find me I do. You can find me at Sim_on_toast. Easy to remember. No problems for anybody. And I post like once a month a turtle related pic, if not more. I'm in a collaboration group where we all talk turtles all the time. So it's fun there.
Talk turtles all the time.
We talk turkeys and turtles.
Hell yeah.
Hey, you remember? No, I'm just kidding. What about you?
That's what this episode's gonna be called.
You remember that?
Do you remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
If you want to find me on the internet, you can just in your social media search bars, you can just type in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and scroll a few posts down, and you'll probably see my face. At Wednesday Poll everywhere on social media. Let's talk about some stuff. It's gotta be nerve related though. If you try to have like a serious conversation with me, everyone's gonna get angry except for me involved, and it just never goes well.
Also, don't come at us with aggression, because Lex will.
Yeah. Make fun of you.
Yeah, he'll just make fun of you. That's it. I was gonna say he'll like egg you on until he realize, until you're like, shit. Yeah. I've been getting really mad at something stupid.
There was that one dude where I was like, I had to tell him, I was like, hey man, I didn't realize you were serious until about halfway through this. So I'm sorry. I thought we were all dicking around. That's all we got, guys. Support the show any way you can. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Also Patreon. Bye, but Patreon. We have a Patreon where you see the live show. It's like no money, so look us up.
Yeah, support the show that way. That's what we mean. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh. I almost just left the studio instead of stopping Audacity.